This is where we've arrived and why I don't believe this is on Jonathan or Steve. But the Warriors were who they were and continue to be because the dynasty wasn't over. And Steph is still playing great. And Steve is stuck on that. And the front office keeps sending projects. And that is what has led to this entire discord. This is from the Warriors Talk podcast on NBC Sports Bay Area. And I want to let you know before you listen to it that when he refers to someone at Chase Center, what you can't see because you're only listening, he points up. In other words, somebody upstairs.
Taller than Monte Poole. And Monte's about 6'5".
Quinton Post.
Gotcha.
No, someone upstairs at Chase Center. In other words, a muckety muck. And watch out for the muckety mucks.
There's also payroll up there and HR, but I get where you're going. Joan and payroll.
Margin accounting thinks
totally.
that Steph has gotten hosed. So listen to this. Monte Poole.
Somebody in the building at Chase Center told me about 3 weeks ago. They said, we've really kind of screwed Steph over the past few years.
Really?
Yes.
How so?
The way they, first of all, this two timeline thing. No, that didn't work. That didn't work.
But you mentioned on last podcast.
The way they drafted.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't draft guys that were ready to play.
Right.
They drafted guys that would need to be. They revamped their player development department. And still, the 3 lottery picks they had, James Wiseman, we don't know what he's going to be. Jonathan Kuminga, we don't know what he's going to be. Moses Moody, we get a picture of what he can be. But none of those 3 are saying, you're saying, okay, that guy's a cornerstone somewhere. You're not getting that.
No doubt.
And so that's part of it. And the way they bypassed some players where you had scouts and coaches saying one thing and people upstairs saying another thing.
Bypassing players in the draft?
Yeah.
Okay, so this...
If only the guy wouldn't stop interrupting him, his partner there.
Who is that guy?
I don't know. He sounds good, but just chiming in a lot, Bonte. I'm just kidding.
This is Bonte and Monty talking it out, chopping it up like people do.
That's right.
Okay. I want to then
Stupidest question ever.
No, it actually was just a conversation. There's no questions. Let's juxtapose that with the way that Steve Kerr answered our question when we said, hey, is it still crazy to give up a bunch of future first-round draft capital when all your stars are over 35? Last summer, he had publicly stated that's crazy. It's crazy to give all that up when your stars are about to retire. So he said, what about now? Or did the Jimmy Butler injury change that? And listen to the way he asked it.
You know, the beauty of being a coach is that you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I believe in the separation of church and state, you know, and my job is to coach the team, and I'm focused on that. You know, it's Mike's job and Joe's job and the whole group, you know, to decide what decisions are made. I have great faith in what they do and in their decision-making, whatever it is. I know they're not going to jeopardize the franchise's long-term future unless something really makes sense to them, and that's what they have to assess and decide.
Okay. Now, I am in full understanding that is Steve Kerr making a public statement. That was on 95.7 The Game and the Willard and Dibs show.
That's right.
So that's why he's saying it the way he's saying it, and I understand that. But I also want to mention I don't like that. That's not, in my opinion, the way to do it. You want to believe in the separation of church and state? That's fine, but church and state better also be working together. They better be helping each other out when you can. So if the concept is, hey, I'm just the coach here. You guys do what you do. Well, that's fine, provided that the front office is aware of how does the coach and the top players, how do they want to play? And what do they need? And if I'm going to go out then as the front office and do the opposite of that, well, then you have a problem. And that is what has happened with the Golden State Warriors. If Steve Kerr is like, you got to draft Franz Wagner, that's who you got because we have Steph Curry and we need to win right now. And the front office is sitting there 5 years ago going, you're probably done winning. The dynasty is fading. So let's get an 18-year-old who never played any college basketball. Let's get Jonathan Kuminga.
But the ha-ha.
Right.
And the highlights.
So this is where we've arrived and why I don't believe this is on Jonathan or Steve. Jonathan is just who he is. But the Warriors were who they were and continue to be because the dynasty wasn't over. And Steph is still playing great. And Steve is stuck on that. And the front office keeps sending projects. And that is what has led to this entire discord.
Well, it's been a while since they've been sending projects. And I look at last year where they took their first-round pick and they traded it. They traded it as a part of that, 9-player, 5-team monstrosity that sent out Lindy Waters and Dennis Schroeder and Slow-Mo and Wiggins. And the pick went to Miami. And so they used it last year. And I'm even looking back at their first-round pick in 2024, that got sent to Memphis as a part of the Iguodala trade.
Yes.
When Memphis took Iguodala, the Warriors sent their pick that year too, which finally conferred 2 years ago. So it's a long way to say that they've done this in the past where they've kind of said F them picks. And so they're looking at these ones now, and they're probably thinking, you know what? We'd love to have them, but at the same time, we can use them as fodder to get something good. And I also think that because those three things have happened, Wiseman, where you could have gotten a bunch of guys after him who were good, and then Kuminga and Moody, who went one pick before Alperen Şengün. Because those three things have happened, I do believe now Steve Kerr and company have a little bit more voice in the matter than they did then.
I hope so. And by the way, it's not just that they happened, and then they stubbornly stuck to them when it was clear that that was probably not what the organization needed in that moment. I mean, my God, he's still on the team.
I don't think they stuck with Wiseman.
No, well,
I mean, they got what they could get for Wiseman when it reached that point where he clearly wasn't going to play anymore.
At its lowest value. At its lowest value.
I don't think it was ever at its high value.
Well, I do.
After a game, maybe.
No,
he got hurt in his rookie year, remember.
It was before they picked him. That's when it was at its highest value.
Well, and you didn't go that route.
And they should have traded the pick.
Or they should have taken a more ready-made, grown-up, adult-style player.
100%.
Right.
And I think that, again, that's the rub for me with this entire organization. That's the rub.
It's the rub, but I only get really bothered if they continue to do that going forward.
That's fine, and I'll buy that. I just think when you hear Steve use the word alignment, remember, when we get to the end of the year, let's see if we're aligned. That's what in my opinion, that's what he's talking about.
Without a doubt.
That's what he's talking about.
And alignment also for me includes Steph and, Draymond, like him or not, he's going to be here. And even Jimmy Butler, who's a Warrior for another year and a half. And, Mike Dunleavy might be stuck in the middle, but ultimately Joe owns the team with a bunch of other people, but Joe owns the team and he runs the team. And if he decides, hey, we're not going to trade these picks because I want to find another 18-year-old, you might lose some of these guys.
I don't like the text that just came in. I don't like it at all.
Okay.
But thank you for listening to the entire show today.
Well, don't read it then.
Well, no, it's a little bit of a morbid laugh.
Okay.
707, is Steph Brooks?
Brooks from Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption. Yeah. Again, Andy likes hope.
Hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies.
And Red doesn't like hope.
Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane.
And Brooks wound up getting paroled and working at a grocery store and being overwhelmed by the pace that the groceries were coming at him. And then he actually asked to go to the bathroom, and the manager said, "You don't have to ask, Brooks." And then Brooks went home and took a really long nap, a forever nap.
Yeah.
So... yeah.
Brooks was institutionalized.
Yeah. I'm not crazy.
Institutionalized. I think Draymond is.
Some people think Steph has Stockholm Syndrome when it comes to Draymond.
Yeah.
And you know what that is. That's when you become enamored and even fall in love with your captors. Stockholm Syndrome.
Exactly.